Hi there, it's Karen here from Crafty Little Miss K. I apologise if my voice is a little funny. I've got a bit of a cold coming on. Anyway, I wanted to do a quick little project for you here. It's based on something I saw online. She'd used my favourite stamp set at the moment, which is the brand new Free as a Bird stamp set. And this is absolutely gorgeous because well, I just think it's lovely. And it's a difference. I usually go for all the butterflies and things, but this one is really sweet. I've got all the bits and pieces all ready in the box. I've got a few things loaded up to show you on the blocks. But yeah, it's a really lovely set. It's a red rubber set, so it's not actually see-through. So if you wanted to make sure your text was in line, I would use something like a Misty or a Stamparatus or something. But anyway, so using that, and this is what I created. This lovely, I think, gorgeous little bird box. Okay, I've embossed the roof using the Pinewood Planks embossing folder, and inside, oh, and I put the base is like a hard piece of card, and I've just covered it with some of the wood paper. I'll show you that in a second. But it's not just a bird box, it's actually a little gift box. Now there were 4 lint doors in there, but because I was feeling a bit miserable because I've got this cold, I've eaten one. But yeah, I'll take 4 of those little lint door sweets in there, little chocolates in there. But I think it's absolutely adorable. Anyway, so I've had lots of lovely feedback from people I've shown. Oh sorry, I've got the camera plugged in because my battery's almost dead. So yeah, I've got everything prepared, and I'm going to make, that one was using Balmy Blue, this time I'm going to be using Mint Macaron. And I'll give you the measurements. I've got my notes off to the side here. Oh, just before I do, I'll show you the wood. This is the wood paper. I can't think what it's called because I've lost the backing piece of card, but wood texture, DSP. It's in the current catalogue, which is about to retire any moment, and it's not carrying over. So if you want to grab some, if it's still got some in stock, then yeah, grab it. 6 by 6, and I mean, you get a lot. Maybe that much came from another pack, so yeah, you get a lot in your pack. Anyway, so let's get back to the instructions. So first of all, you need your base, and like I said, you just need a piece of thick card. I mean, I used quite thick craft paper, craft card, or you can use like the back of a paper pack or something like that, and that needs to measure 3.5 by 3.5. And then I've got just the wood, because I'm going to be covering it with the wood, so that's going to be for underneath, and that's going to be on lot top, so it's going to go like that. So I like it to look nice and neat. And that one is just measured the same, and this is just another piece that's 4.5 inches, just so I've got tight room to move it over. And then the base of the box, so that little bit where the sweets were, is another square, and this is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, and I've already scored this at 1.5 on each of the 4 sides. Okay, and then the house itself is this piece here, and as you can see, I've got some marks on here as well. So this is 11 inches by 5 inches, and then it's scored at 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10. And then I've put little notches. If I stand up, and if you can see, I've put little notches. So in the first panel, if you imagine that the end, the thin panel is at the right hand end, so at this end in panel 1 I've got 2 little notches, which is like 1/8 of an inch either side of 1 and 1.5. So if you go onto the scoreboard, if I bring this up as well, so you pop it onto the scoreboard, and where, I'll go for my scoring tool, I'll show you with my paper piercer even. So where the 1 inch line is, I've actually scored it 1/8 of an inch that side, and then where 1.5 inch, I've actually scored it that side. So it would be what, 7/8 of an inch and 1 5/8. And then in the next panel, it's actually scored at 3 3/4, which is there. And then in the next panel, again, I've gone for the 6 and the 6.5, but I've gone 1/8 of an inch that way and 1/8 of an inch that way. So it'll be 5 7/8, 6 5/8. And then in this last panel, the large panel here, it's 8 3/4 inches. I've just done a little notch, okay? And then I've turned it round. The shorter side is at the top. I've just done a little notch at 3.5, and then turned it over, so it's upside down, and then 3.5 again. So there's the little notch just there, okay? Let me just dump that down. Okay, so yeah, so that's that one, and those notches are going to be where there's going to be some cutting and some scoring, which I'll show you again in a second. And then the roof, I've done, like I said, the pinewood planks, and this piece measures 6 inches by 3, and then I've scored it at 3, and then I've put it through the embossing folder, and I've made sure it's gone that way so that when it sits like on the roof, you know, the planks go upwards rather than across the roof. But you can do it the other way if you wish. And that's in this lovely, the pine wood planks, lovely thick embossing folder. You'll need one, if you're using a big shot, you will need your base plates and then one of the plastic plates. You don't need both of them because it's quite thick. Okay, and then this small piece, if I just bring back my bird box just for a second, on the roof I've got like a cap, like a roof cap, and you don't need it, it's just I quite like the idea of having it, and that's just 3 inches by 1 inch and then scored at 1/2 inch, and then that will just glue on the top like that when the time comes. Okay, and then to decorate, like as I've used the lovely Free as a Bird stamp set, and I've used the main bird, this one down here, and I've coloured it in Daffodil Delight light and dark, and also I think this is the dark one, yeah, the dark pumpkin pie, just to add a little bit of shading onto his body. Okay, and then the leaf here, fussy cut. If you know me, you know I'm not a great fan of fussy cutting. I do have a scan and cut, Brother Scan and Cut, but it's in a box hidden away somewhere, so I've got no room for it at the moment. But I will have to get it out, because unfortunately this set, the dies that come with this set are those lovely, if I just bring in my box just very quickly, it's these lovely hexagonal shaped dies, stitch ones they are, and they're lovely, but I'd like to have had dies for this, but never mind. It's going to teach me a lesson. It's going to teach me to learn to love fussy cutting. Anyway, so I've just got a bunch of these. I think I did about 8. Hang on, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did 7 of the leaves, and then I think I did 4 or 5 of the flowers, which is the bigger flower here, and then the little flower bud. I'm about to lose one, but I think I've done about 3 of those as well. I wasn't really caring about how many I did. It's just how many times I stamped it out and had room on the piece of card I used. I have actually done this on thick Whisper White rather than the regular one, because I found that this one, it tore too easily when you started bending it to go over. If I just show you on the box where I've bent it to come over the front, I didn't want to tear the paper, and I thought the ordinary Whisper White. Anyway, so let's get started, shall we? So first of all, I'm going to just quickly do the roof, and then that can sit off to one side while it's drying. And so I've just used some wet glue. I always use Tombow glue, and I just love it. I just gives it gives you that bit of time that you can fix it if it goes wrong the first time. And then all I did was I just got it ready, sort of bent over, folded that back in half, and just laid it on top, and then just pressed it down, and then just made sure it was right in the middle, that it didn't sort of like sit over one edge or the other. And that's it. I'm just going to leave, oh, it's popped up, let's just give it a nice little squeeze, and then I just left that in kind of like that position to dry off to one side. Okay, and then the base, the actual base, not the box base, but the actual base, the bit that sits at the bottom, all I did was I decided which one. Shall I go for the dark? What do you reckon, dark or light? Might go for the dark. All I did with this one is no, I didn't actually use the wet glue on this one because it tended to curl. Now, normally I would use snail, but I can't get hold of any snail at the moment because they're not available. So I've got some old, I forgot what it's called now, fuse, fast fuse, sitting on the side there. How can I forget it? So I've just got some old fast fuse, but I would normally just use snail on this part because it's not, although it's sticking and it's kind of part of a 3D project, it's not really holding a box together as such. So I just did, so I thought, oh, just use I want to save my snail for my class, and I'm just going to snip the corners off. Yeah, I've got a class next week. The ladies are actually making this box. They know, normally I keep it a secret, but I broke my no spoilers rule and actually asked I said to them, we're making this box next week as part of our grand finale in the class, the last project. Just so I could find out what colours they wanted, so I could bring the right colours. Okay, I'm just going to use the fast fuse again. You could use wet glue if that's what your preferred medium is. And yeah, this is those of you who have actually used this stuff, if you're new to Stampin' Up, then you won't have used this stuff because it'd be tired. But it's a love-hate thing. I actually love it when it works. And I'm just going to put all that over like that. And then this is actually going to be the bottom of the of the whole thing, because I'm going to stick that one over the top like that. In fact, no, that's going to be the top. That is going to be the top. So let's see, this cold is really doing my thinking in. I wouldn't mind, but I've got written notes to the side of me. You'd think I'd remember what I was doing. Now, I just want to make sure that the wood grain goes in the same direction. Okay, so it kind of like looks like it's a slice of wood. And there we are. That's that bit done. So let's do the box base next. So somewhere, there we go, over the rainbow is my bone folder. And I mean, this is just like a basic square box base, really. I don't really need to show you how to do this. I could pause the camera, but we'll just keep going because I've done so much prep already. I'm hoping it's not going to take too long to do the whole thing. And then when I'm doing a square box, to make sure that all the sides are got even amount of strength, if you like, I just do this nice little swirl, and I don't just take right there, and there. I just swirl it, turn it around each time, just to make sure it's all even on all four sides. My husband's just arrived home. It's Bank Holiday Monday here, so I've had a lovely day in my craft room, sorting out this lovely bird box, cutting out some of the samples ready for my class next week, because I've got work at the end of this week. Yeah, and just basically having fun in my craft room. Don't get to do that very often. Monday is usually my day to do it, but as it's a bank holiday, obviously I've got all the family around as well. And just for quickness, now normally I would use wet glue, but just for quickness, because it is getting near dinner time and then we're going to start hammering on the door soon, I'm sure. I'm just using my fuse again just to put this box together, but normally I would use wet glue here. You can't use the snail on a box because it's not strong enough to hold. Oh, didn't do that very well, that edge. And then it's just a case of making sure, I think I'm sitting back a bit, it's making sure all the corners are nice and sharp. I'm just going to bend that bit in ready to when I get round to that side. And the last one is here. My phone might make a funny noise in a minute because I'm expecting a text from my dad. So I apologise if that goes off. So there's your box base. And then I am going to use wet glue in this stage. And just going to put glue all over the bottom. Like that. Make sure there's plenty in the corners. And then I'm just going to pop it on there. Try and get above it without knocking the camera. And then just give that a little press down. That's not quite in the middle there. Let's see if I can move that before it does it. Okay, that's about right. And then just sort of give it a little press down, and then I can just go in there with my finger as well because it's, oops, it's not too deep. Okay, and then that can go off to one side to dry while I'm doing the rest of it. Okay, so the top bit, this is where it gets a little bit fiddly, but it is very, very easy. I'm just going to put an extra bit of paper on there because I don't want to score the my nice pretty paper. On the back of it, if you turn it over, what you need to do, there's two notches where I did the 3.5 at the two short edges here. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over so it's on the inside of the box because I'm going to mark on the outside. And I'm just going to match up those two notches and just draw a faint line. You might not even be able to see it. And that's it. And then use it, going back to where I was before, the two panels with the single notch. I'm going to go to where the score line and the pencil line meet, up to that notch. So it'll be a diagonal score line there and here. And then again in this one. So where the two lines meet, the pencil line and the score line, score up, and the same on this side. Let me just turn that around. So where they meet and up. Okay, so you'll have two peaks here. This is going to be the bit underneath here. The first time I tried it, I actually did a score line across there and it just didn't look right, so get rid of that one. And then I don't need to do any more scoring. The other two notches that you see, I've got them out of the way, the other two notches that you see are for cutting. Now you can either draw a line down if you want to, but I'm just going to do it by eye, just straight down to the pencil line on both of them. And the same on this panel, straight down. Doesn't matter, because it's going to be inside the roof area, this one, it doesn't really matter if your lines aren't straight. So if you're not very good at cutting a straight line, which I'm not, and your line goes a bit wobbly, or if it goes slightly off at an angle, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden. Right, and then we're going to cut away that first piece, leave that panel, and then cut to where that score line goes up there, so just along here. I didn't cut all the way down to the line. So, okay, and then straight down on the diagonal line, not straight down, diagonally down on the diagonal line, and the same again. And then leave that panel in place, but cut this one away. And then you can do the same again, leave that panel, cut across to where the diagonal line starts, and then straight down, diagonally straight down, and the same again. And then the last one, just cut it away. Okay, so you've got this shape, so it looks like two houses stuck together, like a terrace house. And then I'm just going to mitre in these ends, because this is the piece that you're going to sort of stick the box together with. So let's just get rid of those bits. Okay, so the next bit now is to burnish those score lines. Now then, work out where the front of your box is going to be. So obviously that will join like that. Remembering, of course, it's the peak that's going to be at the front. So this is going to be the front. So it's actually the second panel in from the left. All right. This is where the hole is going to be. And somewhere I've got a little diagram here using some old cards. So as you can see, I've just drawn around the circle. And to do that, I've just used the very smallest of the layering circles. I'm just putting away my pencils and stuff out of the way, because I'm going to get the big shot out in a second. Okay, so we've got the two smallest ones. All right, so we're going to do this one first on here, and I'll tell you what the other one's for in just a sec. So let's bring out the big shot. Okay, and then just place this in. What I suggest you do is do it by eye, get roughly sort of like the same distance this way, but this one I did start off by putting it in line with where those lines go across there, but if you come down just slightly, that works out to be the best place. And if you're not too sure about whether your magnetic strip will hold it, because my plates are very well used, as you can see it moved, I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of washi just to hold it there. It's barely touching. Okay, and then we'll pop that through. Okay, and then very carefully take that off, and then you'll just need that ring again. You can keep that circle for something else. So that's that bit done. Okay, and then I've already pre-cut the first hole, and what I want to do is show you a little tip, if I can find the other ring. The other, as you can see, it's got like a little embossed area from the lip of the die, and I use that as my guide for making sure that it's a perfect circle. And let's get that piece of washi back off that other one. And just to make sure it doesn't move, because the magnets might not hold it exactly where I want it, I'm just going to line up, matching those lines, matching the embossed lines with the next die, and then pop that through. Okay, there we are. So let's move it out of the way for a sec, get rid of that. Oh. Straighten up a bit. Okay, so there we are. I was going to say, where's my ring? There's my ring. It's not exactly straight. It did move slightly, but you know, I don't mind. What I can do is make sure that the thicker piece is actually down below where the bird's going to go. So, because that will hide it then. Okay, and then it's just a little bit of. Now I'm very brave, being very brave, and using my fine tip glue pen. The reason I'm being brave is because I can't always get it back on again straight away. And just a little tiny bead of glue. You could either do it on the ring here, or you could do it around the edge. I think when I did it last time, I did it around the edge of the actual window there. Now let's see if I can get this back in one go. Nope. Second time lucky, because it's starting to pour out the glue. Oh, nope. There we go. Third time, not bad. And then, because I don't want to get my fingers all covered in glue, I'm just going to pick that up. And I'm going to make sure that thicker part of the ring is at the bottom, because, like I said, the bird will hide that. And then just pop it over the top. And there you go. Okay, all done. And have I got any glue on there? No, I've got a little bit there, but that's okay, it's come off. All right, so that's that bit. Now you're going to make the box up. So again, you can either use the wet glue or tearing tape. I'm actually going to use my fast fuse as it's sitting here, but normally I would use tearing tape on this or something like that. Okay, there we are. And that is the start of your box. Okay, and then don't actually fold it and create a line, but just bend that gently over there, just like that. All right, and then that'll be ready for when the roof goes on. So let's get my box base in, so that sits down nice a treat. Now we're going to stick the roof on next. Okay, so these pieces here, the idea is to put some glue here and glue here, and then when you pop this on, you can get inside and just sort of use your finger or your bone folder or something just to stick it to the roof. So it's going to be kind of like, if I do this so you can actually see it. So I'm going to work out where the middle is, so it's overhanging both sides. And then if you look in there, that tab, I'm going to be doing this on the table, so I've got a hand free. And then that tab in there, I should just get my bone folder in and just gently push it onto the roof so it sticks. So let's get that going. So a bit of glue on here and a bit of glue on that one. That's it. Now let's lay it onto its side. Let's open that up a little bit. Let's lay it onto its side and actually lay it at an angle. That's it. Okay, and then just give it a little extra encouragement with your bone folder just to make sure that the glue sticks to the roof. So the roof doesn't come off. That's it. That's much better. Okay, that's it. And that's the roof done. Alright, so let's pop it on there just to give it a little bit of stability. So there we are, we're nearly done now. And then, like I said, I've got all these bits and pieces on here. So let's just bring them all into play now. And first of all, I'm going to do the leaves on the roof. So I'm going to stick it, a little bit of glue on the end there. And then just squeeze it just gently with my finger and thumb just to hold it in place for a second. And then do the same again, but slightly pop it underneath. Pop it slightly underneath, so it'll be more like that. The idea being that it just looks like a long vine of leaves. Yeah, so this last one, I'm just going to offer it up, and I've worked out that it actually will bend here. So I'm just going to give that a little bend now, so it's ready to, so it actually hangs down once I've got the glue on there. So that will go down to the bottom end of the roof, like that. And now that's in place, I can actually just put a little bit of glue behind that leaf there just to hold that down as well. That's it. I've got a splodge down there. So now we've got the pieces hanging. They're going to be now where the other leaves go. So I've got one more left. So I think what we'll do, I'll put it on this side so it hangs a little lower. But this time I'm going to put the glue on the coloured side. Alright, and I'm going to stick it behind that leaf that's hanging down. If I lay this down, it might be easier to see. Like that. So that's hanging down now. And I could do with another piece. I thought I'd cut more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought I'd cut 8. Because I actually want one to go across there. Oh well, let's just do this very, very quickly then. I've got a piece of, like I said, it's the thick Whisper White. Not underneath those, is it? No. And it's Memento ink. When you're using your blends, always use the Memento ink. Alright, I'll just do 2 in case I need a second one. Scrub, put that away. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my 2, I've got some Old Olive, light and dark. So the dark Old Olive, I just do like the spine of the leaf and a couple of the little veins. So there we go. I'm just going to pause the video for a while I do this bit, because you don't want to be sitting there watching me cut. I'm quite so let's get rid of those bits. Right, so the last two. So if you want to, you could make it a little longer. I'll make that one a bit longer. I might make that one a little bit longer there. So again, if I'm just going to cut the end of that, that wasn't very neat. Cut the end of that stalk off. I'm just going to put glue behind, no, on top of that leaf, and then stick it to the other side. A little tiny bit. Come on. This is a new bottle. I don't know why it's done this. There we go. Okay, so just stick that onto. I'll stick it onto this leaf here, not the end one. I'll show you in a sec. There we go. So that's sort of hanging down, starting to curl around. And then this one, I'm actually going to put. I'm going to do it that way this time, I think. So a little, oops, bit of glue. I'm just going to lay that down there, just gently stick it on there, like that. Make sure it stays. Now I'm going to put Mr. Birdie on there. Now with the bird, all I've done is I've put glue on his bottom area and into his tail and just onto his feet. Because I didn't cut the feet off, I just left the little scribble. I'll bring it over. The little bit of scribbly bit underneath there, I've just left that on there because that's something that the flowers can sit on. So I'm just going to sit him just there, get my hand inside the box and just hold it down a minute. Like that. And then I'm just going to use glue dots, I think, for this one. So just, what I'm doing is I'm just sort of easing up the petals a little bit, just to give it a little tiny bit of dimension. And there's a glue dot underneath there, so that can go on there. And then I've got a little bud that's going to be, with a little bit of wet glue, that's going to stick underneath the flower, just to hide the last little bit of the stalk on the leaves. Now this is really fiddly, you know me and fiddly bits. I'm a little bit no, I'm gonna have to use my tweezers. Can't do it. Right, that's just going to go underneath that flower like that. And there we go. So I'll leave that just to dry off. I might just tuck that in a little bit more and twist that flower a little bit just to hide the stalk a bit. That's it. Okay, so put the glue lid on so it doesn't all dry out. Back to my glue dots. And then I'm going to put a flower, make sure, actually, I didn't do this at all, am I saying? Just take that glue dot off and start again. Because what I want to do, because it's only small areas that it's actually adhering to, I'm just going to put it into my fingers and just roll it into the tiniest little ball. And I'm going to stick it actually onto the leaf where I want the flower to sit. That way I know it's not sticky underneath too much. So like that. So let's just stick that onto the leaf there. Stick the flower on top of it. There we go. And then what I want to do is just bend these leaves forward a little bit so you can actually see them from the front. Like that. Roof up there. That's it, almost done now. I'm just going to use the wet glue for the next bit, just for these little ones, and just stick these little buds in like this. And you might notice I'm not gluing the actual bud itself because I want it to give it a little bit of dimension. Okay, and I think this one can come onto, as there's a lot of leaf here, this one can come into this one down here. There we go. So that's it done. Move everything out of the way. And just to prove it does hold 4, I've got a new box here of the lovely green ones. And if you position them right, 4 of them do fit in nicely, like that. And there we are. beautiful, beautiful bird boxes. Thank you, Merrilee Mager, I think it was, for the inspiration. And there we are. I absolutely adore these. The ladies are going to love them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it gives you an idea of something you can do just to use the new stamps. If you'd like any of the supplies I've shown you in this video, please contact me via my blog. The address is down below here. If you enjoyed seeing this and you'd like to see more, do click on the subscribe button. Anyway, so like I said, I hope you like them, and do come back soon. Okay, bye for now.